This is Alfie Kingdom. Today, we're going to do a story time, and I'm going to give you a glimpse of conversations with the souls.
Time I went to go meet him, I was so excited. I've never felt this way before. He flew me in and picked me up from his airport. He had a CLS Benz that looked like a spaceship at the time. He had a playlist already made. I remember I told him I like one song, Don't You Forget About Me. And from that, he made a whole playlist. It's crazy how well this man knew me. Out of the 12 songs he played, the majority of them were my favorite songs. Wow, my mind was blown. This man was powerful, and where did he come from? This pussy was already his. Full blown. Now it's just about how I was going to go about giving it to him, and if I was going to pretend to make it easy, or just say fuck it and give it all up to him. Even though I was in the city where he lived, which was nice, he was sweet and suggested for me to stay alone. We hung out until around 8 p.m. He dropped me off at the hotel, which he accommodated, of course, and drove himself back home. However, on my last night, he came to my hotel room. I was so emotionally invested, I felt like this was my man, my boyfriend, my future. He sealed the deal by having sex with me perfectly. I never had love or been made love to before, with so much passion, and fucked this way before ever. He had me blindfolded for the first session, very sensual, but he also beat the pussy down and made me submit to him. I was his wife and his slut, in my head at least. If men knew how to tap into a woman's fantasy, they would learn a true game changer. When this extravaganza was over, I looked into his eyes as he gazed into the ceiling. I asked him what was wrong, and what I could do to make him smile. I wanted to make him happy, and show my appreciation for providing the best night of my life. That night, I gave him everything I had. At the time,
Okay, that's from female's perspective. Let me go a little bit, give you a little another dose of something else.
Of my whole life moving forward. It was Tuesday afternoon, and the sun was coming down. Mama usually came home from work around 8 p.m. Every day she had chores for me. Hand mop the floor, wash the dishes, clean the refrigerator, and everything else around the house that needs to be done at the time. I have been studying all night for a test that was really important to me. It was a math test, and I studied really hard and felt confident that I would pass. Throughout this, I was so exhausted. When I came home from school, I took a nap. Just my luck, I took a nap and my Mama, would come home just a little bit early. My mother was very promiscuous too, and she had a lot of boyfriends. This particular one I hated. I never understood why my mother had to be around so many men. She was so beautiful, she could have any man that she wanted to. I don't know exactly how she felt, but from the outside looking in, I observed she lived and existed for insanity. I often heard my mother crying at night, waking me up out of my sleep. Later on in life, I would understand how a woman can be beautiful on the outside, but scorned and emotionally abused on the inside. Watching my mother, I got my first taste of this, but this theory wouldn't resonate with me. It would happen later on through patterns and experience over the years. So, as I overslept, I woke up in a cold sweat. I heard my mother's keys open the door, and I knew that my chores weren't done. I was going to get that ass whooped. My mother actually was very abusive, and she would beat me daily. I hadn't seen a lot of her since she entertained having different men around that she was really into, at least for the time being. The new man and my mother were in the honeymoon phase, and she was really into him. That made me fly under the radar sometimes. This particular day, he wasn't around, and she came home early. I knew I was going to get it big time.
That's a little dose of conversations with the souls. Now we're going to go somewhere else real quick. We're going to go somewhere else real fast. Give you a little dose of something else. We got a little deep on you right there. Now we're going to give you guys some game. Hold on, guys. Now, we're going to take a trip, guys. We're going to take a trip to the book. It's called International Player. If you heard that book, you read that book, press 1 in the comment section just so people know you already up on it. I didn't put you on nothing. You already know about International Player, what you thought. If that's you, then you get to go here. Let's take a ride.
This is International Player by Tariq Afi Kingdom. Read for you by Asher Thor. Preparation. Hey guys, before we take our international playing on the road with our international rotations and having women in abundance all across the world, let's do some prep first. We're going to talk about the prep work before you even land so you can maximize what it is that you're going to do and who you are going to meet. Having a plan and an outline of things that you desire is key. So, in this section, we're going to talk about location, money, social media, dating apps, and what's better out of international versus domestic travel. Are you guys ready? We're all players, but we're not all international players. That's my job to open up your eyes to see the international player in you. Let's go. Introduction. Welcome to the International Player. Where we left off the international keys, I taught you how to plan and travel. Now that I assume you're traveling, we're going to talk about getting on a plane and meeting women. Now, I do understand that a lot of you guys meet women already, but I'm going to show you how to effectively and efficiently manage and build worldwide rotations. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you will know that I came into the game with a high-level worldwide rotation. Now, you may ask, what exactly is a worldwide rotation? It is having multiple women in different places across the world. Some people consider themselves to be players, having women on their beck and call, and one's close to that. Now, you know that's not my style. I'm International Afi, and I like having women in different states and in different countries. I'll discuss with you how to do this. We'll talk about meeting the women, how to maintain them, and strategies on dating, having sex, and keeping up with women after you do your traveling. I've traveled the world for 20 plus years now. My first trip was in Los Angeles, California, and my last trip was to Germany. Before that, it was Africa. I've been all over Asia, Mexico, Europe, and I've seen different types of women. I think the problem is, now that most people depend on dating apps in order for production, dating apps are cool, but it should only be what you use for extra credit, meaning you shouldn't depend on this. So throughout these chapters, I'll break down everything that you need to do to not only be a player, but to be an international player. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. Location. What's going on? So how do we plan on doing some traveling? First things first, we need to figure out exactly where it is that we need to go, or want to go. If you don't, you need to come up with a domestic list and also an international list.
Now we're going to take another trip. That's just a quick little dose. We're going to take one more dip to the streets. I hope y'all don't mind going to the streets, to the game, to the pimping. Press a 2 if y'all don't mind going, because we can go there. I hope y'all follow me. We're going to take one more trip to the wild side. If you never had a ticket to go, this is your chance to see the other side, as I will show you right now. Is you ready? Let's go to the Tales of the Underworld. Let's get a dose of that.
This is Tales from the Underworld, The Life and Times of King Fee. Read for you by Asher Thor. Forward by Alpha Villains. When I first started listening to the Athi Kingdom podcast, I instantly felt his energy. I saw someone who loves this thing we call life, a world traveler, an artist, and a man who possessed a certain level of appreciation for women, due to his comprehension of women. As a man of certain age, it's rare to find like-minded individuals who share your drive to be successful, who pursue walking to the beat of their own drum, and who see themselves as limitless. While being showcased in the content creator space, he always appeared to be an anomaly, a community that is dominated by men who are traumatized from past experiences with women, and where women are viewed as the enemy. And although we've all been through some trials and tribulations, it never hindered his desire to live his life to the fullest. His experiences are unique, and the Most High has given him gifts that the world needs to see and hear through his lens. It's lonely at the top, and it's lonelier on the way up. So when you encounter that energy, it's important to surround yourself with that, and to keep grinding. Some women are born with desires, and others are taught how to tap into their desires. For a very long time, men selected their wives and long-term prospects based on the perception of being wholesome, being wifey material, and having a low body count of sexual partners. Most men think that by treating women good, providing a roof over their heads, and making love to her, that would tame her sexual appetite, and they would live happily ever after. Very few men have had the opportunity to be exposed to a world that is centered on instinct and desire, where on the surface, a wholesome, God-fearing woman enjoys getting double penetrated by two men, or the soccer mom that bakes cookies for the bake sale can only climax from anal penetration. Men who are in love with these women would never know this because they confuse love for genuine desire. Most men are not strong enough to handle and confront these uncomfortable truths about the women they love. They judge them for their darkest secrets and fetishes, causing her to look elsewhere to satisfy that hunger. Women need to feel safe with men who will allow them to be free. A man understands that once a woman is comfortable, she is yours to do as you wish. She will give you her body and soul, and want you to make up for all the times the men who loves her didn't fuck her. Being exposed to the underworld at a young age while being fascinated to the many layers of its participants gave Afi a front row seat of what women truly wanted behind closed doors, how they really wanted to be treated, and how it made them reach levels of ecstasy that they never knew they could achieve. This is a story of how being exposed to an environment that inhibitions, judgment, and love is left at home, and where sex and desire rules. Alpha Villains.
You got bars, AB.
Prologue. Special respect to RPC, Professor MGTOW, Principal Bay, Black Ram 313, China White, and Moto Power 2250. As the only collaborators in this exclusive elite series, I will be the narrator of this journey of King Fee. King Fee was the creator of Tales from the Underworld series. This series exposed females' true nature, stories from those who lived it and themselves, exposing what happens when the nights go gray, women take off their masks. He was known for telling stories. He even made a series that people recognize and talk about to this day. You will get a peek and taste of the underworld. What he did was chronicle his experiences within the underworld. Instead of telling random stories, he will give you lessons that he learned. Pay attention to how he picks up on information that connects dots later on throughout his life. Sometimes you will learn things and they will become significant later. You, yourself, will learn to connect the dots, pulling out your toolbox, figuring out what tools you will need now, later, and just in case. We will go from the tender age of 10 all the way up to the present day. These aren't just stories of the underworld. These aren't just stories about sex. These are stories of power, manipulation, success, and failure. There are lessons learned, plans, and the psychology behind all of them. You will get to hear the transparent thoughts and raw emotions of King Fee, told from the life experience when it happens as well as in retrospect. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready for a ride. Better yet, get your shades, your trench coat, and take the elevator down. Down to the place where people talk about but only few know about. The world of sex, drugs, alcohol, control, and manipulation. This is a very dark place, so make sure you put the kids to bed. Open your vision to the journey of animalistic sexual desire, sex, money manipulation, and desire with the culprits in the shadows. The sexual underworld is a no-judgment zone, a place where your fantasy becomes your reality. The place where if you don't play your cards right, your dreams may become nightmares. Welcome to the life and times of King Fee. Welcome to my sexual underworld. Chapter 1. The Track. I remember my introduction to the track. I lived in Sacramento, and I would frequent Oakland to visit my sister from time to time. I remember one particular summer, I was told that we were going to go visit my sister, but we ended up never returning back home. She was having some relationship issues, and my mother, being the...
That's Tales from the Underworld, players. That's a quick triple dose, just cuz. I'll link all 3 books, and if you guys want me to do another session, I can do 3 new books or 3 more chapters of each book, or actually just do 1 book per chapter at a time. Let me know. Peace.